Welcome to Wrestling with Success, the best and only podcast for the wrestlers of tomorrow. Please welcome your host, Nigel? Oh, right. Your host and future champion, Neil McMillan.
Yeah. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 36 of the Wrestling with Success podcast. And I've got to tell you, I feel like a heap of shit. As you can probably tell by my voice, I sound like a donkey who smoked cigarettes all his life. And that doesn't even make any sense. I'm not making sense. Life isn't making sense at the minute. I am going toe-to-toe with man flu right now. It is Neil versus man flu. Success versus disease. And I've got to say, I nearly tapped. I'm struggling, as you can tell by my voice. I nearly tapped. But the show will go on. There's no tapping out. I'm taking it home. So this week is going to be a shorter episode. But it's going to be an episode just as good and with plenty of value. This week, I'm in my garage recording this episode, and there's not a lot of room. I'm getting the kitchen done at the minute. I'm getting the kitchen done at the end of March. But being the tight-fisted Jew that I am, I decided to buy all the appliances nice and cheap whenever I found the deal. So I've just got washing machines, ovens, and dishwashers around me. I've even got the worktops. I've got the kitchen coming in 2 weeks, and I've not found anyone to fit it yet, and it's got to be fit in 3 weeks. So it's going to get a lot tighter in here. But hey, this is nothing about wrestling. I'm going to talk to you about my week, because I learnt a few valuable things that I want to share with you. A few little snippets of value that I think is relevant to share with you guys. First of all, I went to Hustle Wrestling School. Again, I've been going there consistently the past couple of weeks. Honestly, I feel like I improve a couple of notches every time I go there. And not only that, I got to do a little in-ring international with Danny Duggan. And when you mix in with people like that, it kind of makes you want to up your game as well. So that was good. You can see that on my Instagram video. And I'm enjoying it. And last week we had RJ Singh, a veteran in the game. He's been doing it for plenty of years now. And so we had RJ Singh as Sid Scala was out on tour in Butlins. RJ Singh there. And he's a teacher by trade. And I thought it was very funny because he sat us all down and told us about the session, his thoughts on wrestling. And it's the closest thing I've come to assembly in a very long time. He controlled it. He controlled the lesson very well. You can tell he's a very good teacher. We went through a few moves. But I want to share with you one snippet that he suggested. And that was following a guy on Instagram. I'm going to go through a few people who I follow, who I've heard recommendations from, to try to up your game, learn a few new things. As I have learnt this week. So I want to share that with you. So one of the guys he recommends is on Instagram. His name's Dean Allmark. Let me just try and multitask right now. I've got the tab open like a professional already on my laptop to be able to record this and give you the information as we go. Dean Allmark. Oh, I can't even say his name. So it's at Dean Allmark. I could have just said that. I could have just remembered that, but I had to go to the computer to understand that. Dean Allmark, and the good thing about Dean Allmark, he runs a wrestling school called All Star Wrestling School, and he puts on his Instagram a short little snippet, a short move of the week. And that's one thing we were doing. We were trying to perform this particular move. God knows what it's called. I believe it's from a knuckle lock, down, boot away the arm, twist on the inside, and then arm drag. Obviously, it doesn't come across very well in my fluey voice and over a podcast, but go follow that, guys. Dean Allmark on Instagram, and he's looking through. He's got some incredible moves, moves that you haven't really seen before. Nice and short. He breaks them down as well. Makes it look real nice and simple. They all look nice and simple until you're actually doing it, and it's just clunky as fuck. Well, it is for me anyway. Lots of turns and twists. But so definitely recommend following that guy for your weekly dose of wrestling moves. So that was one recommendation. Another recommendation, which was brought to my attention as well and shared, was following Joey Mercury. He put out a tweet out, which I think is very important. I'll try and find the tweet now. See, there goes the professionalism. We were doing so well. That's not even the real Joey Mercury. This is WWE the Joey Mercury. This isn't the real one. Get out of my face. Fake one. Got to find him now. Where is he? I follow him. I will find him. I'm just going to type Joey Mercury. Hopefully this fake guy doesn't. The fake guy keeps popping up. Me and this fake guy, I'm going to message this guy and give him a well scripted tweet of my hatred towards him. Damn you, Joey Mercury. I can't even spell Mercury. Life is dark right now for Mr. Success. I'm calling myself by my gimmick name. So, Joey from Wrestling. I found him. It was as simple as that. Joey from Wrestling at WWE Mercury. His name is Joey from Wrestling. It's nice and simple, but you know, it would have been easier if you put your name as Joey Mercury, Joey. But he put out a very important tweet, and I think it's quite a big one. It is any sort of pro wrestlers who want feedback from him. Here we go. Attention professional wrestlers of all experience levels. I'm currently offering expert match reviews, feedback and tips. One-of-a-kind opportunity. Experts are rare. If you want a guaranteed way to hone your craft today, email bookjoeymercury@gmail.com for details. I know a lot of guys who've messaged him. I believe he charges, I think it's $55 for him to review a match. But when you think about it, $55, convert that, what, you're looking £30 to £40? I don't know what conversion rate is nowadays. That's just off the top of my head. £30, £40 for an expert who's worked behind the scenes, been an agent, and you know, he's been wrestling for God knows how long. To sit down and personally go through your match, critique it, give you feedback. That to me is incredible value. Unfortunately for myself, I don't have match footage. I'm yet to have the real one-on-one single match, so I'm a little bit behind on my journey to be able to go to him. But if you are a little bit further on, or even if you've just got some in-ring footage, I suggest that you give him a message, save up your pocket money, ask mum and dad. Don't buy that takeaway that you wanted to buy. Save yourself on some protein shakes for a week and drop him a message, and he returns very quickly. I did message him asking if he had fancied becoming a guest on the podcast to share that great advice and knowledge, but this was before I knew that he charged for his time, which I'm willing to offer, but I'm yet to hear a message back. He obviously doesn't think that he can get any money out of me, but obviously I'd like to get him on the show, or anybody with that kind of experience level. I always try to give this podcast, get the best people that I can. Believe me, I am actively going at it behind the scenes, trying to get as good of a guest as I can on this podcast for you guys. So fingers crossed on that one. So definitely, I mean, not only just that message, but people like Joey, it's definitely worth following. One thing that Flip Gordon said to me when I did a session with him, Flip Gordon, look him up. He's another massive up-and-coming superstar, currently at Ring of Honor. He said that a lot of these older wrestlers, they want to give back. They want to give back to people following up their journey. He said the amount of people that he could message, and sometimes, I mean, say what, you message 25 people asking for their feedback, asking for their opinion, asking for their help. Maybe only one of them comes back, but who cares? That one person's come back. You've got to put the hard work in and just ask. A lot of them want to give back. A lot of them probably won't even see your messages at all. So think about how you message them as well. If you're trying to message performers, talent that are on Twitter and they haven't tweeted for about 6 years or 4 or 5 months, know that isn't their active social media. Go after their active social media. And I'm not trying to say this as an expert. I'm just sharing the advice that I learned from people like Flip Gordon and from other trainers who have taken sessions. Also, another good person who I've followed in the past, not wrestling related, but in terms of getting work ethic, helping your social media, moving on up and stuff like that. And the guy's a dog when it comes to work ethic. Look up a guy called Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk. It's a fucking terrible second name. But look up a guy called Gary V. He's got a very good podcast that he does. He does blogs, video blogs on YouTube. He's got a very good YouTube channel. And he's all about, getting people's attention, doing the correct business things for a brand. And essentially, as a wrestler, you are a brand, so you need to treat yourself as such. So those are some recommendations I can give to you on to follow. But definitely that Jerry Mercury thing, I would definitely recommend that. For have someone like that to sit down and watch your match and then physically give you a message back or a phone call to discuss it and go through. You can't really. That's priceless. That you can't put a price on it. Well, you can. It's £30 to £40. Pull your finger out. One other person as well that I follow quite a lot, and I'd recommend all trainees follow, is Al Snow. Al Snow, he puts a lot of good motivational stuff, a lot of good support for trainees. Obviously, he's got his training school, but definitely recommend putting him forward. Sorry, guys, I'm just swallowing a bit of phlegm or whatever the hell that's conjuvilating in the back of my throat. And also, I want to mention another thing that happened this week. Last week on my episode with Jason Tiller, we discussed Willwah Spray. Willwah Spray came up as one of his favourite UK talents. And I mentioned in the podcast that I have the desire to get Mr. Ospreay on this podcast for you guys, so you can hear his journey, hear his tips, and hear what advice he has to give to you. So I sent a tweet out there. That Mr. Ospreay liked. So I planted a seed. It's still my aspiration. I still want to do it. Nothing's secured yet. No contracts have been signed. But it would be out of this world if I can get him for you guys, because I know how much people would listen to what he's got to say, because he's one of the top talents coming out of the UK. So I sent that message. I put it out there. That's what you got to do. You got to put it out there, and then the universe will bring it back. The universe will bring it back. But I sent out that tweet, got it liked, and then the next day I only went and saw that he was on Talk is Jericho. So Jericho, you've really stiffed me up there, mate. You've really done one over on me, and now there's a little bit of podcast beef going on. And don't get me wrong, you wipe the floor with me. You are far superior to whatever I'm doing. But I've got a purpose to fulfill here, Mr. Jericho, and that is to provide a service to trainees and to the future wrestlers for the UK. And you're just shitting all over that right now. And as I mentioned on my tweet, if I had a list, you would certainly be on it, sir. But I'm not going to partake in gimmick infringement. You can keep your fucking list, all right? And the worst thing was, he released it February the 14th, so a day before that I sent that tweet. So it was my fault for not even noticing it. Not only that, he done it on Valentine's Day, and he had B. Priestley on there as well. So he's really rubbing salt in the wounds. Like, that's genius. That's classic Jericho as well, though. Classic Jericho. He's one hell of a businessman, one hell of a promoter, and he basically just put a middle finger up at me, and there's nothing I can do about it. Damn you, Jericho. So those are some things that I definitely recommend for you. Oh God, the voice is going. Those are things I definitely recommend for you guys for this week. Obviously, so get yourself following people, get yourself following trainees. Don't be afraid to message people. Don't be afraid to message this talent. drop them a message, drop them an email. Don't go, oh, hi, I'm your biggest fan. Will you come to my birthday party? Or anything stupid like that, because it's not going to happen. Be polite, but don't be a noob at the same time. Just talk to these people like normal. Show them the respect that they deserve, though. And yeah, so those are my recommendations of this week. As mentioned previously, this is a short one, but it doesn't mean we haven't got time for fan time. Play that shitty little jingle. So this week, what's happened in the world of wrestling, and what can we talk about as a fan? We've got announced today, Jeff Jarrett in the Hall of Fame. I don't know, I didn't think I'd see the day, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure, what footage they're going to show for him. He hasn't been WWE since 1999. The biggest highlight I can think of him was losing to China, and he had I think it was a SummerSlam match with D'Lo Brown. That was pretty good. I liked that, but apart from that, he's not that memorable. Obviously, he's done more stuff with TNA, NWA, Global Force Wrestling. I think he's with Angle's ex-wife and all sorts of shenanigans like that. But somehow he's made it into the Hall of Fame, so fair play to him. Like I said, I'm not sure what highlight footage they're going to be putting on. One thing as well that I still can't wrap my head around is what they're going to do with Braun Strowman as well. I don't understand what they're going to do with him at Mania. Normally around this time you can kind of see some stuff piecing together, and I just can't see him going up against Brock and losing again. He had his one-on-one, he lost that. He had his triple threat. Yeah, he did alright, but still he lost at the end of the day. So, no clear vision of what he's going to do. He's currently doing his thing, I can't think of the guy's name, the guy with the guitar. And he came out with that, what's one of those big guitar, a cello. He came out with a cello, and fair play for Elias, that's it, I remember it now. Fair play for Elias for taking that. I don't care how fake it looks, or whether it was put together with matchsticks. That would have hurt getting slapped along the back. So fair play to Elias. Elias is slowly growing up my power rankings, my Mr. Success power rankings. He's moving up them. We've also got the Elimination Chamber coming up this Sunday, which is the 7-man Elimination Chamber. And I know what you're thinking, those numbers just don't work out. But what I think they're going to be doing is going to be putting 3 people starting off in a ring instead of 2. And then obviously your 4 around, 4 plus 3. You've got it. It's 7. So I think that's how they're going to do it. And one other thing I want to pose for this week, just to keep it interactive, because I like to speak to you guys, is can someone please explain to me, alright? And this could be very simple, okay? I just don't know it. I haven't Googled this yet. I keep forgetting about it. But every time I see the Usos, what does day one-ish actually mean? To me, I don't know what. It blows my mind. Is it like, we were kind of here at the beginning, so we're kind of day one-ish? Is that what it means? Is that to me is, I don't get it. I mean, it intrigues me. It makes me think, what does that mean? It almost makes me want to buy one, but I'm not going to buy one because it's stupid. All right, it's stupid. I could be very stupid. It could be some cool meme or something. It could be something fun. All right. I don't know what it is. Anybody knows what it is, please let me know. And also, I want to know people's opinions. So, Jeff Jarrett going into the Hall of Fame. I want to pose a question to you guys. If you had to pick between China, the 9th wonder of the world, or the rabid Wolverine, Chris Benoit, out of those two, which one would you choose to go into the Hall of Fame? Now, don't get me wrong, Benoit's obviously got his history, he done what he done, and it's awful. But at the same time, it's hard for me, because I don't know if I mentioned it before on this podcast, but I went to WrestleMania 20. That's my first ever actual event to go see wrestling. I went to Madison Square Gardens, New York City for the weekend, and I saw WrestleMania 20 in Madison Square Gardens. And it's forgotten about now. Now, because Chris Benoit done his selfish act, I'm now punished. Now my WrestleMania is wiped off the records books. Like, you never see highlights of it or anything. It's a shame. Cena won his first US title. Taker came back as the dead man. I mean, Jesus. Give a guy a break, Benoit. I mean, so Benoit's got his thing. He's obviously had some great matches. I always ask people, guests on the show, what their favourite match is. Match 101. One of them that stands out for me, which I'll share with you, is Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle. I don't know, I think it was Royal Rumble 2001. I think it was. And that was when Stone Cold won it, knocking out Kane. But that, I think it was a title match. That was incredible. It was a great match. That is one match that I would put up there with my, Wrestling Match 101. It isn't the Wrestling Match 101 for me, but it's one of them, definitely up there, a highly ranked one. So you've got Chris Benoit. You don't see anybody like him. He had intensity like no other. And then you've got China, the ninth wonder of the world, built like a brick shithouse. I remember for years thinking that her and Xena, the Amazon warrior, or whoever she was actually, the same person. And I think that was pre-Jaw. I think it was pre-China Jaw, where she got a kind of feminine one going on. But think of what she done. The landscape she changed for women's wrestling. The whole DX thing. She was the diesel of DX. She was the big muscle of DX, and that's mind blowing. You think about wrestling now. The women have evolved. They've obviously their main event shows. They've got their own Royal Rumbles, but she was doing that all by herself back in those days. So she set a landmark. So that's one question I pose to you guys. You tell me who you think, because to me, that's a tight scale right there. That is a tight scale. China or Benoit, which one would you choose? It's only one choice. That's one question I'm posing with you. And on that note, guys, whilst I've still got a small grain of voice and noise coming out my throat rather than kind of coughing and spluttering, I'm going to leave it there on this week. I'm sorry it's been a short one. I've tried to share as much value in that. I think there's a lot of value you can learn from that. Get out there, get following. Don't be afraid to message. Definitely follow Dean Allmark. Definitely give Joey Mercury a message. Drop him some dollars. It's definitely going to be worth the experience. And guys and girls, thank you for listening to this episode. Thank you for following my journey. And guys and girls, I look forward to wrestling a match with you all soon. I'll speak to you all next week. Yeah.